Would you live in a minivan with your dog through an Alaskan summer? Even knowing there are earthquakes almost every day, tsunami warnings is a norm, and one bear for every 21 people? And would you trade safety for this raw beauty? For a land so breathtaking it steals your words, yet so primitive it can swallow you whole? When I came here, I knew the risks. I heard the stories. I was both inspired and warned by the film Into the Wild. But I couldn't stay away. I had to see it for myself, experience it for myself. And this is why. Everything in Alaska is a dance between the darkness and light. In the summer, we lived in the heart of light, a midnight sun that would not set. But these mountains were so vast, they cast a deep shadow all around them. And in that shade, moose grazed peacefully, but could trample you in an instant. Porcupine shuffled silently, yet they carried quills sharp enough to cripple a curious dog. In avalanches and landslides, here on the Seward Highway, they are not just rare events. In fact, they are so common, they become part of the landscape itself. Hi there. I know. She's like dejected. I know, Chloe. I'm sorry. It's not fair. I know. I know this music is a little bit dramatic, but I'm telling you, it's like the mountains made that sound. It was like I was hallucinating this sound as I stared out over those mountains just cascading across the sea.
My goodness.
Here in Seward, Alaska, these beautiful waters once rose in a tsunami that demolished the town. So when a tsunami warning came during our visit, the people of the town listened. But before those warning alarms would sound, we drove toward our campsite at Exit Glacier.
Oh, shoot. What the heck is happening? Gosh, I hope everything's okay. What the hell is happening?
I went and talked to some other campers nearby where the paramedics had stopped and asked what happened. I am quite curious. And apparently there was a camper who was unresponsive in their rooftop tent. But whenever the paramedics came by, that camper seemed to be okay. There was some suspicion that they may have been under the influence and passed out. So what I gotta say is it is a wonderful thing when campers are looking out for each other. So thank you, nomads. I couldn't believe how much this place reminded me of Hawaii, which felt strange because Alaska is so far north and frigidly cold, while Hawaii is warm and tropical. But then again, it made sense. Both exist on the Ring of Fire, where tectonic plates carve black rock into towering mountains, and coastal rains drench the slopes until vibrant green forests climb like living walls up the dark stone. But a landscape that is uniquely Alaska? These braided rivers. I had never seen rivers like this before, and they were everywhere. The current time is 10:53 to be precise. It's almost 11 o'clock and it's still very bright out, but it's getting darker. It's actually getting dark at night, so it is a peaceful rainy morning here in Alaska, just outside of Seward. We're by the coast, surrounded in mountains. It's one of the prettiest places I've ever seen. We got our little doggo up there. She was outside, but didn't like being outside in the rain. We've got Bob over there. Mountains. I'm recovering from an MCAS flare. I shared a bit about that in this video here. And I am in this process where I'm experimenting with sort of my limits with it. Oh, I met my limits. My face has reduced swelling. I'm like 3 days into non-histamine inducing foods and the swelling has reduced quite a bit. But it's so weird, I swell right here. I know this is kind of a strange thing to share in van life, but it's part of the reality of van life is making sure that you adjust your dietary needs to your traveling conditions. I keep looking up at that window because rain is getting in. So I'm going to go ahead and shut that window. Hi, honey. Truth is, my body has been aching quite a bit. That is part of the flare. And it has caused a lot of joint pain, a lot of pain in my ankles and knees. They're getting better. A lot of lower back pain. All related to what I eat. It's really sinking in that I've lost the option to eat certain kind of staple junk foods in America without this consequence. Here's the thing. I love this lifestyle. And if I get more serious health issues, I'm not going to be able to continue in this lifestyle because I'll need to be more around a regular doctor and clinic, and people do travel with chronic health issues, but it's harder. There's far more restrictions. And so, again, I'm experimenting with the scope and limits.
Oh, that's pretty.
We are in a tsunami warning.
Oh.
And I believe we are far enough inland. We shall see. And we got the notice that we are in danger. There was a 7.2 magnitude earthquake by Sandpoint, Alaska. You know, the tsunami emergency alert system is pretty amazing. And just to think of how many lives it can potentially save, because those things can strike so quickly. It's so difficult to predict an earthquake, and you know, there's that little bit of prediction. So we basically got about 45 minutes worth of warning time and looked at the maps to see how far we are inland, ran our map situation through ChatGPT, but we are near Seward. So what do you think, Bob?
I think we'll live, but you never know.
You never know. More and more campers who were near the coast started rolling in here to clear the expected tsunami. While Bob and I were in Alaska, we were in 2 tsunami warnings, and there was a third tsunami that happened so fast that there wasn't even a warning. Now, we weren't anywhere near that one. However, it was the 3rd largest tsunami in Alaska history and the 5th largest tsunami in the entire world. This tsunami was 470 feet. It was at a place called Tracy Arm in southeast Alaska, and thank goodness there was no lost life because it is so darn remote. But there were some campers who basically did have their gear and their kayaks damaged, as well as a lot of trees that were damaged. Backing up to the tsunami warning that we were in, it was downgraded from a warning to a watch, then an advisory, and then it just didn't come. Thank goodness. That was creepy to receive that warning multiple times saying you are in danger, you are in danger. I mean, I've gotten like major weather reports and warnings before, but to get a tsunami warning like that, Alaska is something else, something else. Believe it or not, that's actually an I want to play sound. Usually, when I hear that wretched generator sound, I become livid and have to practice deep breathing to calm the emotional dysregulation. But this time, the origin of that terrible sound was me. It is 10 o'clock and it's a slight rain, and we actually are starting to get a sunset. So I haven't seen one of these in like, I guess it's been about 6 weeks that the sun just really hasn't set. We had a tsunami warning today, and I very quickly was like, are we far enough away from the coast? I believe we were. The warning got canceled, and I believe we were far enough away, but we were in a position where it was like, we kind of had to make that judgment call. Several folks did actually reach out and check in on us, which I just was very moved by that. Thank you guys so much. I'm gonna show you a few of the rigs that are around here because I really like some of them. I love being in these places and even walking around campgrounds sometimes because you see the cutest rigs. Somebody straight up brought their tiny home out here. I love those pop-up truck campers. I kind of think I might want one, but at the same time, there's downsides to it. I really like being able to access the living quarters from the cab. Some really nice vans. I also thought I would show you this super cute setup. Look at that 4Runner with that cute little teardrop, but it looks like you can stand in it. It looks like one of those new campers in you or Tab. And look, somebody brought their tiny home. I actually can't help but wonder if somebody brought that out because of the tsunami warning, which it would just make sense that they would want to take their home with them to get it out of a path of destruction. So it is super misty. It is technically rain, but it's like such fine rain that it's this teeny tiny little mist. Oh my goodness. Gosh, that is so pretty. What else can I show you? I feel like showing you around. And then here's my lovely home. Isn't it so interesting that that's my home? You know, I would love to basically pare down to where I only have what fits in that van. Right now, I'm blessed enough that I have some family who let me store stuff in a closet and under their bed, and I have more stuff than I'd like at my family's house. They've been so generous to let us keep things there. But it is definitely a goal of mine to declutter again. These flowers are everywhere, and they're just so fragrant and beautiful. Sure do love that home on wheels. It's so beautiful. I'm standing here to take a thumbnail, you guys, which is funny. You got to really put a good amount of focus and attention on a thumbnail because that's one of the most important parts of a video, because it's going to be sort of the first thing to show people what you're doing. Anyway, I'm standing here, sort of posing for the thumbnail that I have no idea if I will use. But literally, it looks like the air is yellow out there, the way that the mist is lit by the sun. I have to show you. I have to show you this. Here is that spectacular sunset from inside the van. It's a little messy. Some people are going to think I'm nuts for saying that. But things aren't in their exact place. And that's because I'm just living in it. Just living in it. And enjoying the unbelievable, spectacular beauty. Oh my gosh, look at that. Look at that. It truly has been a little while since I've seen a sunset. So, this is just incredible. I won't be staying in Alaska this winter. It's just not the prudent thing to do. I have too many responsibilities down south, and the truth is, there are incredibly wonderful, exciting things going on in my life. So, I need to be more present in the lower 48 for those. And I don't like to go so long without seeing my family. And I also really would need to winterize my van, meaning that I would need to get space heaters, not space heaters, I would need to get diesel heaters and figure out some insulation, and that all is just much easier to do in the lower 48. Look at my little girl. Isn't she so cute? I woke her up. It's like she knows we're talking about her. It is like 10:30 or something like that right now. And Chloe hasn't kept her rhythm. She really has followed the light, but she does get to sleep earlier than I do. And the light is like, we are losing 4 hours of daylight a day up here in the north. The way that the whole solstice to equinox situation works is it's fast. It's very fast. I think that's one of the things I love so much about Alaska, is that everything up here is like extreme. If anything happens, it happens tenfold. Just like we had that tsunami warning this morning. Of course we did, because there's tons of earthquakes. And okay, so they're not a laughing matter, but I do have to tell you what is funny to me. Catastrophe, disaster. For folks who are like true and blue Alaskans, they're like, oh yeah, it happens. Like me, this Arizonan who's up in Alaska, I'm like, floods, fires, swarms of bugs, earthquakes, tsunamis, nearly getting swallowed by mud. And the Alaskan and the Yukon folks are like, it's how it is. even Bob, because, you know, he grew up here. And when we got the tsunami warning, I'm like, we need to go. We need to get to higher ground. Like, let me research everything and make sure we're safe, and we should just go. And he's like, it happens. It's just funny. All right, well, I'm going to go edit. This Alaskan sunset lasted hours. This was 12:30 a.m. It's dark. I mean, not completely, but darkness has returned.